Hey, everybody. Welcome to Shooting Off with Greg and Charlie. Charlie, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, it's Charlie. Uh, yeah. So I handle a number of characters here in Shoot. So probably the most prominent ones at present are Tim Roy and Thunderfist and Di Ferguson and Wolfman.
All the fun characters.
Yes. Well, I like to think that they're fun.
They're all fun. They're all fun.
It's good.
Come on. Yeah, so this is the last set of shows before Eternal, Legend of the Triad. Let's talk about Ruination since it technically airs first. We have a special debut exhibition kicking off Ruination 46 with Golden Burkhalter taking on Dan Stein.
So I understand that the head of marketing, Greg Nicholson, is big on Golden Burkhalter.
He sure is. Myself, I'm still a Dan Stein homer, but the character, Craig Nicholson, is a Burkhalter fanatic, apparently.
Yeah, so like fill me in a little bit because I like just listened to this. So fill me in a little bit on the Burkhalter Stein dynamic.
So Burkhalter is Eddie's golden boy, of course. Supposed to be the next big thing and stuff like that. Really, there's no connection to Dan Stein besides the fact that Dan is like Nate, and Golden Burkhalter is one of Nate's students, and their names. That's basically about it. I wanted to do something to push both of Eddie's characters, like I said on the boards, because Eddie does so much for Shoe Project that goes, I wouldn't say goes unheralded, but he does an insane amount of work. And this week especially because he has like 15 matches.
Oh my god. Yes. He's in like two of mine.
Yeah. And then he has I think a couple on Rain too, if I remember going through the bookings and stuff. So yeah, like he's doing a lot. Plus he has all the creations and stuff like that too. So I just wanted a way to promote him. Now, when we're talking about bookings for this Ruination, I wanted this specifically because I felt the dynamic between the two of them, with Dan Stein being the former Golden Boy and now Golden Burkhalter being Eddie's Golden Boy, was kind of interesting. And I think that is something that I'm still yet to play out this week in a actual promo.
Okay. All right. I'm excited. I have not I've just heard the promo, or the audio promo. So I have not actually dug too deep into Golden Burkhalter, but I obviously know quite a bit about Dan Stein. So I will be curious to see how this plays out.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And the promo that Eddie put out was a good introduction to the character itself, too. So we're excited about that. Yeah. I think, in the promo, I had Greg Nicholson, director of marketing, choose Golden Burkhalter. I think I'd probably stick with that, too.
Oh,
I think,
okay.
yeah, I just think it'd be fun for the character to win a debut match, So we'll see. We'll see if the RNG gods have it in for him. We'll see.
Like a Kurt Angle sort of debut.
Tying into the Dan Stein Burkhalter interaction was the Nate Robideau Avalanche Anderson booking, because like I kind of promoted in the video, or in the radio segment, excuse me, we wanted to see how Nate does when he's not in the premier booking spots. And that's what happened here with Nate Robideau against Avalanche Anderson, with the fact that he's facing somebody from Rain, which Nate Robideau looks down on. Nobody else does, of course, because Rain is awesome, but Nate Robideau maybe does. And it leads to the promo that he cut today.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a very good sense of where Nate's headspace is currently, and it is interesting. It'll be very interesting to see how this match plays out, because Avalanche has been a very dominant figure in Rain, and Nate has been very clear that he's like, I'm done with Azwraith. I'm gonna move on to the next fighter. I don't care who it is, or maybe not even like who I care who it is. It's certainly not gonna be Azwraith. It's gonna be someone else. And So for Avalanche to come in and get the shot, like really kind of like a rocket shot from Reign to World Heavyweight Championship, it's got to be intimidating for him. It's got to be I don't know, sort of like power move by Nate in a lot of ways too. But like you were saying, the fact that it's so low on the card has got to be a hit to his ego.
He's not even curtain jerking, like he's not even opening the show. That's got to be
That would be to have a World Heavyweight Championship open the show would be open Ruination. Like I'll love to Ruination, but it's it is the SmackDown to Raw. To have that as like an opener, I think might be a more of a punch to Nate's ego.
I will say
where it is currently.
Right. I will say that Ruination and Revolution were the first two shows that I was a white name for. And Josh and Eddie both see the opening match as the tone setter for the show. So they put it, obviously it's not the main event, but they put it up there. And then the other matches, of course they matter. Like, I'm not going to say your match doesn't matter if it's not there. But like in the pecking order, it's, it's main event, then the opener, and then the co-main, and then it goes down. So that's why they specifically put him in the second match, is because it's like, it's not even the show that people tune in for, or not even the match that people tune in for. It's the one that comes after that match, and that's where the headspace is in the bookings from that kind of angle.
It'll be interesting because Avalanche has done like really well, on the Sims for Reign. So, and Nate's a beast on Fire Pro, so it'll be really interesting to see how this plays out, because if this is a match that goes longer than 10 minutes, I think you could certainly have some openings to start breaking down the mystique of Nate.
Absolutely. I think that's maybe even what Nate is trying to avoid in his promo, is what I was trying to say, So, yeah. But I think that's going to be a great match. I also think that Roy Vezina versus Meshuggah Hara is going to be a great match as well, too.
Yeah, and like these are two characters that are, I'm going to be honest and say that I need to dig into a bit more, but I know like Roy, right, if I'm correct, is the Mr. Canada, essentially, right? And Meshuggah Hara also is the Japan side of the house, and had a kind of a disappointing match against Chick Grillbreast during the last cycle. So I don't know. Like, I'll be curious to see how these two face off, and I hope that they produce, if not some RPs for the cycle, some segments, because I think it would be really fun to learn more about these characters, because I know that Roy is very active on the boards, but it would be really nice to see some more content to build out that character.
Right. He's active on Spitter and such, but let's see if he's going to be on the shows, which I can't remember if he put one out last week or not. I know that he was here for it, but I'm not sure if he did or not.
Yeah. We've had a lot of Canada characters though, right? So we've had right, so Kenny Canuck, and then we've had it wasn't like part of part of Patriot Act wasn't Canadian, obviously, right? But we had another Canadian character. Maybe it is just Kenny Canuck and like trying to do the whole thing. But yeah, when Roy showed up and he was Mr. Canada, I'm like, he stole my stick. I'm honestly excited to see how this plays out, and I would love to see more of the character development for both of these characters.
Yeah. There's still time. There's still 4 days left before the show goes up. So I'm sure there's something in the works, like you said, segments or otherwise. So welcome to the fold, to Roy. I know that Meshuggah Hara's handler has been here for a while. So hopefully they're back and ready to go. We will say that much, because the character itself is, the build itself on Fire Pro is a lot of fun to watch.
Yes.
So
I agree.
Yeah. Speaking of a lot of fun to watch, sounds really misogynistic.
So I'm not gonna lie that like this might be my most anticipated match of the cycle. based off of all of the work that was done the previous cycle to build on this. Because, okay, so I've worked with Lexi in the past, and the shift that this character has taken in the last couple of weeks has been so amazing and so interesting for this character. And also working with Laura and Madison in kind of their respective spaces, to have that dynamic is like easily one of the most interesting things to like read week to week. I am so invested in this dynamic, and this match I'm so excited for.
Yeah, I echo your thoughts entirely on Lexi Gold. Like I was saying on the boards, I feel like this is going to be a heel kind of turn, but Chelsea's probably going to surprise us and do something else, which is great. But I want to see how it plays out, and I think that working with Doob is a good way to kind of expand upon the Lexi Gold character, because Doob knows what he's doing when it comes to roleplay. So the quadrangle that they have there with Black Sheep Baez, and we'll get to that in the Revolution, of course, but just like the quadrangle that they have there is a lot of fun to watch and read right now. So
is it even a quadrangle? Is it like a quadrangle? It's like right because like El Pariah's in there somewhere.
oh yeah. So
It's a
yeah.
it's a pentagram.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah. Pentagram of love.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So I need I need the Real Housewives of Shoot Project.
What is it? What's the WWE Diva show? It's
I
like
don't know.
Talking Divas or something like that.
Yeah,
I forget. The show that Nikki
I
Bella
want
and
I want the Shoot reality TV show, and it's these 5 people.
and they all have
Just
like
these 5 people.
confessionals
They're
and
all
stuff.
fighting
Yeah,
for $1
absolutely.
million.
I love it. The Big Brother Shoot Project. Oh man. Speaking of TV shows, I think that Felix Mullen watches a bunch of anime TV shows.
I
He
also
is in the
watch
main event.
anime TV shows.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, this is
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it at all, but I mean, associated with Felix Mullen, there's going to be some spillover.
Well, a broken clock is right twice a day if it's analog or whatever.
Yes.
So Felix Mullen's in the main event of Ruination with the Murder Doves taking on former Beau, Miranda DC, and the Boomer Shooters in a 6-person tag match. And this one is probably leading up for the match at Eternals, what I'm assuming. And yeah, so I think that this one is going to hopefully it ends with neither one of them eating the pin, but we'll see how Fire Pro works with that.
Yeah, there's I mean, I'm part of another 6-man tag match, 6-person tag match. And so what's really interesting, I think, and from a booking standpoint, is how the 6-person tag match has been used to further storylines for, I guess, singles competitors in a way that also adds an interesting character dynamic to the storyline, right? So you've got Miranda and Felix who have their own story, but they're also bolstered by these tag teams that have established stories, or at least established presences within Shoot. And so it's, how do you as a character find a way to incorporate the teams into your singles storyline? And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to Revolution, but I really like that approach to bookings, because I would love to see more of that, where you get the singles competitors matched with a tag team that normally they wouldn't interact with, and have them compete and figure out how does that shape that character, and how does that further the storyline.
Yeah. Josh and Eddie do a great job of discussing things like that, and that is one thing that I agree with them needing to do more of. I think that they've done that a lot lately, and again, I'm excited to see it going forward too. Who do you think takes this one?
I would be hard pressed to not pick Miranda. She has been just on a tear, and it's been super impressive. That is a great build in Fire Pro, and it is a great character with a great story arc, and that's I mean that's who I'm picking. Miranda and the Boomer Shooters.
You know what you're talking about, Charlie, because yeah, I echo that. uh, she, her, her character right now is hot. It just makes sense for her to take that win. Hopefully, RNG takes it too. I just don't want to see Felix eat the pin quite yet, just because it's kind of anticlimactic if he does.
Yeah,
But more or less, that's exactly what I'm saying too. So.
but I mean that's like the thing, though, right? Is like having a 6-person tag match is there's some plausible deniability in the pin, right? So like, even if that happens, there's some wiggle room in the storyline that say like, well, this wouldn't have happened if it was just 1-on-1.
Maybe what they even thought about when they were making these bookings.
Yeah.
So, yeah, totally cool. I think that Ruination card is a great lead into Eternal.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, we get some matches for the new people, Roy Vizina and the returning NC-17 for Eternal.
Excited to have him back. He was a great partner to work with when I was doing some stuff with Ayumi early on, and so I wish nothing but the best for his return.
TJ, I think, is the handler for Roy. Welcome to Shoot Project. Kind of, I want to verbalize
another
that.
Roy.
Another Roy. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Again, Ruination, great lead into Eternal, the last show for Eternal. So we're excited for it, and I'm excited to work on it. I know that you are as well. So
yeah.
I
don't think I actually have a. I do have that I have planned for Ruination, but I don't have a match on Ruination.
All right. So taking a step back from the bookings, let's just take a minute just to shoot the shit and let people, stew on Revolution, because I know that that's what people kind of, like you were saying, turn in for. That's the raw Shoot Project. Lately, as of the last couple of weeks or so, there's been a couple good movies out there.
Mm-hmm.
A couple few. I myself, I've only seen Barbie. I had a lot of fun watching Barbie, but I know that you said that you've seen a couple others.
Yes.
I know that you're kind of a cinephile when it comes to that kind of stuff. I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are on the movie scene as of right now.
Oh, wow. It's actually like really good. So as far as like summer movies go, Barbie was great. I loved everything that Barbie did. I did the whole Barbenheimer thing with some friends a couple weeks ago. And the only knock that I have against Oppenheimer is that Christopher Nolan does not know how to sound mix. And so everything or he intentionally makes bad sound mixing. And so you can't hear some dialogue in the movie because he just plays music over it all the time. But Barbie was surprisingly amazing, but my like I will ride or die on this movie recommendation is TMNT Mutant Mayhem, which just came out on Wednesday. And the best way I can describe it is like my 7-year-old nostalgic brain got matched up with my college age meme brain and spit out this movie, and it's amazing. It has the turtles as actual teenagers, and the chemistry between the turtles is fantastic, and it's got a banger soundtrack. It's got a score from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, which is amazing. It's got references. It I'm trying not to spoil anything, but like a major plot point in the movie revolves around Attack on Titan. And right, and I'm just like, this is a movie that was made for me. Like, this is a movie that is like, I've seen a lot of the like detractors online, like, oh, this isn't the Turtles that I grew up with, or the 1990s plastic suit turtle movie like is better. I'm like, no, like the 1990s turtle movies is fine, it's fine, but. And I don't know that this one's gonna stand the test of time, but like for me, in this moment, right now, I had so much fun watching that movie, and so I would highly recommend it. I would also recommend Talk to Me, the horror movie that just came out.
Oh, the horror movie, yeah, with
It is
the hand or whatever.
yes. I saw the trailer for that movie. I thought this is gonna be dumb. This is gonna be a dumb movie that is like I've seen it. I've seen movies like this before, and they're dumb. And no, this is actually like a really cool, well done, suspenseful, dramatic, emotional movie actually, and it's done by these two YouTubers who like got funding to do a major motion picture movie, and it showed at Sundance, and they got picked up by A24, and it was like made for I think roughly like $250,000, and it's already grossed $12 million. So I'm super excited for what they do next, because it again, it's like that's why I love horror movies. Like horror movies they don't need the budget, they don't need high profile actors. They just need a good story, some good pacing, some good editing, and they can churn out some cool stuff. And I don't know, I'm a big horror movie fan, so I was really excited about Talk to Me and how much I actually enjoyed it, as skeptical as I was going into that.
I'm obviously not as big of a moviegoer as you are. I do like movies. I like going to movies. I love experiencing movies. I know that A24. I know that they're kind of selective about their movies, and I know that their movies are always really well reviewed. I don't know if X was. I can't remember the reviews on that one, but
yeah, I mean, like I don't know how well it was reviewed, but it was great. The movie was great.
yeah. So when you said that A24 took it up, I was like, all right, I got to watch it. Like, because I think that A24 always has really good horror movies. And like you said, as long as the story is good, it doesn't matter what else is on it. The low budget might actually make it better,
In a lot of
when Blair
cases,
Witch
it
came out.
does. Yeah, in a lot of cases, it does. I mean, Paranormal Activity, Blair Witch. People can shit on the found footage genre, but I mean, it makes money.
Yeah. For the record, Paranormal Activity is my favorite horror movies, probably of all time. I think,
Really? Okay.
yeah, I like the entire series. I will say that the last one I watched was the Hispanic Family. I forget what the movie was called. And I know there's a couple ones afterwards, but I really do love that series. And then immediately after that would be Insidious. So I'm really excited for the Red Door, or whatever it's called, the
Yeah, Red
last
Door.
chapter.
Yeah.
And um, when the red faced demon shows up in the first movie, spoilers, but it's been 20 years now or something stupid. When he shows up, like I had nightmares
Yeah.
for about a month, so that was good.
I just watched Terrifier 2 today. And that movie is a movie that I was prepared not to like, because I tolerated the first movie. It was fine. But I'm like, okay, well, I don't really I it's just not I don't know, it wasn't doing it for like the first movie wasn't doing it for me. What I love about Terrifier 2 is it's a long movie. It's like 2 hours and 18 minutes, which is very long for a horror movie. But it's I don't know. It's like it gave me such Nightmare on Elm Street vibes. And like it was this weird sort of like Nightmare on Elm Street slash I don't know, like Saw like approach to a movie. And I needed to like I gave myself a break in between because it was so long, but the vibe of that movie was great. I loved it. I loved it a lot more than I thought I would.
Revolution 196 on the march to 200, as it were.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. I wonder what we're gonna do for the big 200. So
200. Well, okay, so timeline wise, right? That would be 2 or 3 episodes after the next pay-per-view?
that would be 4.
4?
So 7, 8, 9, 10.
So okay, so right, so I mean, it may end up being the one that leads into the last pay-per-view.
That's true.
Here.
That'd be kind of cool.
Maybe make it happen, Josh.
Make it happen, exactly. Yeah. 196, the last show before Eternal Legend of the Triad, opens up with our World Tag Team Champions, the Coltons, taking on the Patriot Act, a little-known tag team from Reign. And
I think we can
I'm
talk about this one because I mean,
yeah, I feel like it's going to be a warm up match for whoever the Coltons take on in the Eternals or in Eternal, excuse me, the Eternals. So I think it's just going to be a warm up match. I think that it's probably going to be a squish squad, and I'm not sure if there's any other way that it could end.
so
And they're my characters.
right. Well, I mean, but okay, so like, who would you like to see Patriot Act face? Like, if they had a match on the pay per view.
Oh, from I didn't you put me on the spot now.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, the Willet Clan would be kind of cool.
Anything else to say about Patriot Act and the Colton? I think this will be interesting because the Coltons are again, this is one of those things where I really am anticipating some segment back and forth and would love it because I think the dynamic between the two teams from a pure dialogue standpoint would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, you would know more than I would, but I would enjoy that, and I do appreciate that the opening match for Revolution is a championship match.
Yes, absolutely. I want to tell Luke that I am excited to have this match here. If Luke puts out a promo before deadline there, I'll try to get one up as well. I am a little bit busy this weekend, but it is what it is. I love the Coltons very much, and I think that there needs to be more visibility outside of Spitter with them. But that's kind of an evergreen statement for us, right? I think we all have segments and storylines and character developments and role plays. So yeah, Coltons are the future of Shoot Project's tag teams, and I'm firmly behind the Coltons. As much as Greg Nicholson, director of marketing, is behind Burkhalter, Greg Nicholson, the handler, is behind the Coltons.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and then up next we have some dude with the Chingones Groseros. Chingones Groseros. I forgot that there's not an E in that one. And then taking on Pigpen and the Willet Clan. Pigpen Matsumoto and the Willet Clan.
Yes.
So Timothy Roy, he beat Dan Stein for the Shopify Championship and then watched it kind of slip through his fingers like sand.
Yeah. Yeah. Twisting the knife there a little bit, but
yeah. This one, since you have a character in the match, I'll just say that I think this is like we said before, touched on it with the 6-man tag match in the main event of Ruination. It's a good way to get these two to get at each other again and kind of build up that the feud, the mystique between the two of them. And I want to see this play out in Fire Pro to see if they actually get a lot of time with each other, or if Fire Pro knows that to keep them away from each other. I think that'd be kind of funny.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how that plays out too. So Tim, I mean, I could go into a lot of backstory, but Tim, I've really tried to move him from being a villain, like a heel, into more of a face character. And so going against Pigpen and having Pigpen sort of reject him as someone that wants to learn the hardcore style, that was sort of a really interesting sort of approach. And now to have this dynamic where they're facing off again, but with partners. And I can tell you from what I've worked with Eddie on for the Chingones Groseros, it's Tim is still really trying to find his vibe in Shoot, because he has this giant shadow over him, and I'm really excited just to see how some of these matches play out to really build into the person that he becomes. So I know what I want to do with him, but what that turns out to be is going to be very colored by how some of these matches turn out.
That's fun. And that's a lot of fun. And I think that's why Josh chose the RNG style of Fire Pro, because it helps with storylines, but it also brings out writing and writers as a whole when the results aren't predetermined. Of course, you could do storylines and things like that in Shoot Project, but in these kind of situations where you want to have the RNG mold your character, that's pretty cool, and that's kind of good writer.
Yeah, I mean, and as like you were saying earlier, like Eddie has just been a huge supporter and partner in basically anything that I've wanted to do character wise, and so big props to Eddie for not only carrying a lot of characters on his back, but being available to workshop stuff that I think will be fun in the end.
Awesome. I'm excited that you two are working together on this. Like, two behemoths of the talent working together is pretty cool. So, coming up next is the return of NC-17 as he takes on Combat Kabuto. I feel like this is kind of like a punishment match for NC-17, just because Kabuto is kind of one of the more violent sides. And that's, as a fan, that's what I would think this booking was. So I'm excited to see kind of what happens here with NC-17 and where Ian's taken it this go around here in Shoot Project.
Yeah, I mean, this really is kind of just like a hard reset for NC-17, and so I know what the character was when he was in Shoot prior, and so especially with his handler and kind of how all of that worked into the narrative. So I will be very interested to see how this plays out and what either a victory or a loss does for the character in terms of a storyline.
Yeah, NC-7 clean, as it were.
Yes.
So I think that's a pretty good play on words there, Ian. Good job. The co-main event for Revolution 196, a main event worthy match in my opinion, just because of the two people and the championship itself. Chick Girlbreast takes on Black Sheep Baez for the Premier Championship. Black Sheep Baez is Premier Championship for that matter. And again, the co-main event. So one of the money spots, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have a stake in this match because of Diebreast. TH has been so much fun to work with in building out this weird dynamic between Di Ferguson and Chick, and I'm here for that ride. So I really hope that he wins because that would just add so much more interesting elements to it. But yeah, like Black Sheep Baez, like, I mentioned this in my feedback from the show, the last set of shows. I can't think of a character who, as much as Black Sheep, that when I read what is on the screen, I can hear the character in my head, and that is just such a good, indication of a great writer. And I may not always understand what they're saying, and I may not always like in my life say like, okay, I'm gonna walk away. Sometimes in my life, if I encountered Black Sheep Baez, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna walk away from the situation because it is too much. But I get it and I appreciate it, and it honestly, it is Black Sheep is the most dynamic character right now in Shoot, and I can't deny that. So it's gonna be a great match, and I want the two characters to have some sort of interaction either through role play or on a segment, because they are two characters that are built out of the same mold but like completely different, and I want that dialogue between the two of them.
Yeah. What is he, director of merchandise, I guess? Eric and I were discussing kind of Shoot Project, going over stuff with our Rain storyline going on, and Eric brings up the fact that there's a lot of like not serious characters in Shoot Project, more so than he's noticed before. We're like in the Grimdark Ages is what he called it. So
DC like versus Marvel.
Say again.
DC versus Marvel.
Yeah. It's such a 180 from where we were before.
Yes.
But all the characters that he's talking about that are these kind of, I'm going to say, pop punkish characters, I guess,
I mean,
Uh,
hey, that's a trademark for my tag team that broke up, but it's still a trademark.
well, they're all well. They're all done really well, and I agree with them. Um, I think that Black Sheep Bias is kind of like the actually Girl Breast is probably the champion of those, just because Chick's been here longer than Black Sheep Bias after the injury and so on and so forth. But still, like this is a pairing of those people, and that's what made me think of it. Not necessarily like, yeah, we're we're out to hurt people and blah 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 blah. You know, like we're not here gonna burn somebody's back and have the back fat smell like bacon and shit like that. So this match is gonna be fun. The characters themselves are fun. It's gonna be a lot of a hoot nanny. Yeah,
Yeah,
to get into.
I mean, a little bit of a sidebar, but I mean, to what you're saying, I have never had as much fun writing a character as I did writing for Blaze, and I think that really speaks to the idea of having that outlet where you can just be kind of bonkers, and shoot is such a great place for that, where you can just sort of go off the rails with the character, which is kind of what I'm doing with Dive and Chick. And it's I don't know, like I feel like I have more fun, and I appreciate the era with Entrigan and Kenji Yamada and Azraith in his prime, and like just that sort of like dark and brooding sort of era. But I also kind of really enjoy seeing these characters that are just fun and like fun to read, fun, like they're not trying to burn anyone's house down or kill anyone's dog or anything like that. They're just
Rest in peace, Wink. Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be fun. Like I want more of that.
Yeah. I don't think that like most of the handlers in Shoe Project today were with us back in 2014 and before. There's 3 or 4 handlers that weren't. NC17 was, if I remember right. There's not that teenage angst that we have anymore. We're all adults, you know, married,
want fun,
kids, long-term relationships. You know, and we don't have. We're older. We're more mature. Like we don't need to get the grim dark out anymore. So unless you're Ben, of course, because Ben's characters just seem to be who they were a long time ago, which is great. I'm not shitting on Ben.
he's got stability. Like
Exactly.
It's I will like I am someone, speaking as someone that has hopped between multiple characters over multiple years, over like 20 years. 20 years of doing this.
Yeah.
That for Ben to stick with a single character,
Yeah,
and keep him relevant for that period of time. I mean, okay, hey, let's just segue into the main event for Revolution, but like that is talent.
yeah.
That is hardcore talent.
Well, there's a reason why he's positioned himself in the main event of Eternal, probably. You know, it hasn't been just, put in stone yet. Of course, we're doing the whole runaround, but there's a reason why he's in the main event, and
he is the Brock Lesnar of Shoot at this point. He gets
exactly,
or the Undertaker of Shoot, however you want to put it, where like he gets like 1 or 2 matches a year and they're headliners.
Yes. Awesome. Well, the one of 2 matches that he has is going to be against El Pariah at Revolution 196. Be sure to tune in.
It's going to be such a good match.
Yeah. El Pariah getting the chance to step into the ring against Azrath Dimitri, who's out to make an absolute statement out of him.
Yeah.
Is going to be fun.
I was going to say El Pariah is, I mean, okay. So if the storyline plays the way that it should, El Pariah is going to encounter a big wake up call.
Yeah, just a buzzsaw.
And it's like, because Az has his sights set entirely on Nate, and El Pariah is off, doing the whole Sex and the City thing with with the Zetons. And, if he takes his eye off the ball for a minute, Az is going to capitalize on it. Like, he's setting teeth, Nate. And so I'll just be really interested to see where this goes, because I know, like for Azraith, right? Like a win here is a win for him, and it just like again cements his status in shoot, gives him the vault into the pay-per-view. I don't know what a win for El Pariah does here, right? So like what if El Pariah wins, does he, like what is his sort of like motivation or stake? Does he want to go after Nate? Is he gonna eventually fight his brother when he comes back from his break? That's what I'm really interested in. Is like there's so many like loose ends that I think could be interesting connections for storylines.
What El Pariah would do if he won this match was absolutely go after Nate, because he wants to become world champion before his brother does.
Okay,
that's what I would think.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that. There is that chance that if he does win, he's like, hey man, put me in this match, maybe a 3-way or at the very least. So
3-way. What I would love, I'm just gonna say it now so that I put it into the universe, is that Judy Punchinello, when she came back and switched her persona, teamed up with El Pariah to take out Di Ferguson, and now she's part of the Unholy Cyber Army, right? Which is fine, but someday down the road they're gonna have a fight. I'm gonna put that into the universe. I don't know whether she's still Thunder Fist or not, but right now she's Thunder Fist.
That's such a great nickname, Thunder Fist.
Thank you. I workshopped that quite a bit. It's been fun actually. Like it's been really fun working with Eddie on UCA.
I like Unholy Thunder Army as a nickname too.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's what I felt made the most sense for her character going forward.
Well, Revolution 196, last show before Eternals. Again, another banger of a card, but I don't think we have anything else but bangers. That's all we have. Banger after banger after banger, right?
So the question, right then, is what does the pay-per-view look like?
I think we've kind of touched on the main event is probably going to be Nate versus Az.
Yep. That's what
so
that's the setup is.
So that's going to be probably the World Heavyweight Championship match.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of going over the premier, like the championship matches.
Yeah, got all the championships. Like this is how we're gonna figure this out, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So we got Nate. So Nathan versus Az. So we got the heavyweight championship sorted.
Premier championship with Black Sheep Ayaz. Man, I don't know if they're gonna do the quadrangle or not the quadrangle. The what do we say? There was the pentagram of hate, pentagram of love, pentagram of love as a match, or if they're, I don't know if they're gonna do like a multi-way match for the Premier Championship with Black Sheep Ayaz. I'm not quite sure. Maybe that's what's gonna be determined now.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if Chick doesn't win, it'll be Black Sheep Ayaz versus Lexi.
Okay. Well, then what do you think the Cetons are going to do?
I think that there's going to be a match between the Cetons and El Pariah and... Right, okay, so we have El Pariah and Madison. So against like El Pariah and Madison, right? So they're the couple. And then you've got Laura, and then maybe a mystery partner. I mean, she's really she's not really attached to Black Sheep Ayaz in any way.
Yeah, she is to her sister, but not to Black Sheep Ayaz. I don't know if you heard me or not, but maybe it's Loco is the
oh Jesus
mystery partner, because I know Doob and Scott have a good friendship. Of course, Doob has friendship with everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I miss Loco. I miss Scott being an active handler. So maybe that's where it's going on. If Chick wins, then do we see El Pariah, Lexi Gold versus Black Sheep Ayaz and Madison? What do you think?
Okay, so like
tag match.
Separate match.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a blow off match for that.
Yeah.
For that dynamic. Like it's got to be it's going to be El Pariah and Madison as a team against someone.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah,
Against Lexi and Black Sheep Bias is what I meant. Sorry, I missed.
Yeah. I mean, I assume so.
Swap partners. Yeah.
I mean, it's either that or Lexi and Laura.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they've got that kind of fractured dynamic going on too.
True.
I don't know if Black Sheep. I mean, if Black Sheep loses, I don't know if he really factors into that match as much.
Well, I hope so. Oh man. Yeah.
And he'll have.
I get what you're saying though.
He'll have a match. I just don't know if it'll be that match.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be, regardless of who wins that match, Chick or Black Sheep Bias. I think there's going to be a contendership match, and I think that they're going to get it. Whoever loses that.
Yeah.
Maybe not for the premiere, maybe for like the Cincinnati Championship or something like that. You know. But still, I feel like that's going to happen.
Yeah, the contendership stuff will be really interesting. I think. I mean, I know. I could guess that Tim and Pigpen are going to have a push match at the pay-per-view in some faction. Not that I know what the bookings are, but that's kind of what it's building to. Is that they're going to have like it's a feud, so they're going to have a push match. Colton's, I kind of have an inkling of what's going to happen there, so I won't say it. But Colton's are going to have a challenger.
Yes, the Coltons will have. I know what's going to happen, and I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it either.
So I'm gonna have to.
So yeah. They will have competition heading into the pay-per-view.
The World Tag Team Championships will be on the line with the Colts. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. And then what other titles are we missing?
The Cincinnati Championship with Miranda DC and Felix Mullen, which is
yes. Okay. Yes. That'll
come to a head, anyways.
Sure, happen.
Yeah. So, and then I mean, we're leaving out so many good characters. NC-17, Chick Girl Rest, Roy Vizina, Golden Burkhalter, if Eddie wants to keep him on the main roster. I don't know if he's going to do that or drop him down to Reign or not. But there's so many good characters right now that deserve to have a contendership match. And maybe there's one or two contendership matches just to give the match up. And I think Josh has said that he's going to keep it pretty tight, so maybe just the one. It's going to be a lot of fun. So
yeah, I mean, I would say if Lexi, Laura, Madison, aren't a part of either a championship or contendership match. Well, okay, I'll put it this way: they are either going to be part of a contendership match or a championship match. Like they're not gonna be in one or the other. I think that Tim, Roy, and Pigpen are going to be in their own sphere. I don't think they're probably going to be part of a contendership match of any sort. I think they're going to be their own sort of space, but they're definitely going to have a match. There's some other stuff that I'm aware of that I don't think it's going to have any sort of impact on titles, but I think will be fun matches that will be happening. Yeah, I'm trying to think of any. I'm just looking at the cards here. I think, yeah, I mean Miranda versus Felix for sure. I think there's probably gonna, like, honestly, there's like when I'm thinking about the tag team championships, I don't know if the tag championships will be on the line in the pay-per-view. I think there might be like a tag contendership match, right? Because I think there's a lot of interest in building out tag teams, and just looking at Ruination and Revolution storylines, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 tag teams across 2 shows. So it would not surprise me if there wasn't like a tag contendership match.
I can dig it. Plus, JD, the new handler from I want to say MVW. I forget. I apologize. It's kind of late. It's going to be 1 o'clock here for the two of us. Is also going to be a tag team. So there's definitely that opportunity for sure. There's at least six teams. I don't know what's going on with the Patriot Act. I feel like they're just kind of a filler right now for the main roster. But either way, I'm fine with it. I'm happy with being a part of that and promoting it and what have you. So
yeah. Well, and I can also guarantee that Dive and Chick will have some sort of presence on the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dive Wrestling.
I don't know what else. I don't know what's going on with me on the main pay-per-view. This may be one of the first pay-per-views that Dan Stein sits out in a long time. We'll see. There's still 2 weeks before the next show, or 2.5 weeks, whatever it is, before the pay-per-view. So we'll find out.
Yeah, I definitely, for anyone that's listening, I encourage you to write something. Like, I mean, just write even like just a little bit, because it really helps get other people into your characters. It helps me also realize my characters, and
Yes.
it's that's the thing that I really like. Like, speaking as someone that kind of came back, I really enjoy the camaraderie and the feedback and being able to workshop ideas with people. And so I just would encourage people to, if you have an idea, share it, work it out, pass it by someone else, get some feedback, and just keep working on it. It's great. Like, I want everyone involved here to do their best work.
I agree. It also motivates me when people do stuff like you saw tonight, like the promo that Eddie cut made me want to do something equally as cool as what he did. So there's also that too. So yeah. We've been talking for, I want to say, like an hour and a half now. What has it been? Yeah, it's over an hour and 50 minutes now. The last question I want to ask the host, maybe I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but we touched on it before. Josh and Eric and myself and a bunch of other people really put a lot of work into Rain, and I'm curious your thoughts on Rain, both as a brand and the storylines going on right now.
Yeah, um, I love the idea of Rain, because for me, what I enjoy getting out of it is the ability to test characters that you build out in Fire Pro that maybe you don't have a storyline or a background for, or you don't want to have them in a championship match. Like, you don't want to like put all the investment into their backstory, but you can still watch them fight in Fire Pro, and that's what I love about it. It's like the like Wolfman would not work in main canon shoot. He works great in Rain. And so I love the idea. I love that there is this whole sort of like side universe that Rain has. And you were saying earlier, Greg, about how characters in Shoot now are less grimdark than they were prior. Rain is like that next step. Like, well, no, like Rain is that next step to me. Like, to me, Rain is that next step on the other side, where it's like, okay, like, so Shoot is sort of leading into being the more like campy and kind of funny characters. Rain just doesn't have any sort of rules, and it's sort of like, I'm gonna be a bug creature who grew up in the bayou, and and then you also have characters that are just wonky, sort of like old people, and then you have Wolfman, who like literally bites people's faces off. Like it's like Shoot unhinged, and I love that it's so tight that you just watch the shows, and if you wanna throw in a role play, it's fine, but you don't have to worry about building a storyline, or you don't have to worry about really sort of getting too serious with your characters. You can just kind of throw them out into the wild and see what they do, and I appreciate that. It reminds me a little bit of like when WWE was sort of at its peak in the late 90s. They had a show on Sundays. So they had Raw and they had SmackDown, and they had, oh god, what was the name of the Sunday show?
It wasn't Collision. It was
No, but they had a show on Sundays where it was sort of just like they had interstitials where they were talking, like they were building up the shows for the rest of the week. But at the same time, they had matches that just didn't matter, and having that not matter aspect of it was kind of fun. I also like, honestly, I wish Rain would lean more into what makes independent house shows fun, which is the kind of shit where you pretend that you have a grenade in your hand and you throw it at your opponent, and they also believe that you have a grenade and they blow up, but it's the grenade there. Um, you just can't do that in Fire Pro, but like the same sort of vibe, right? Where it's like everyone's in on the joke. Everyone is in on the joke, and your characters are larger than life, and you are playing parodies of real world situations, which is why I love Wolfman, because I love playing Wolfman because he is what I imagine when I think of mid to late 80s WWE stars. He is a caricature. He's like Undertaker. Like he is this caricature of this thing that doesn't make sense in reality, but if you play it serious, like semi-serious, it becomes like spooky. And it's great. And I which is like Cicada like works so well because Eric does such a good job of doing spooky.
He does, doesn't he?
And I just like that. For me, that's Rain. Like Rain is this kind of like sandbox and playground where you can test out characters, and then maybe they get pulled up to main roster, but
Right.
they're also kind of like, I feel like the main roster is its own world compared to Rain.
Rain for me is, I actually like the weekly kind of format to it that Josh has. I know that there's not the like role play deadlines and things like that attached to it, but still knowing that there's a show coming up is kind of fun and keeps you on your toes and keeps you in that kind of the pattern. I will say that Eric approaching me about a feud with Ultima Muerte long before he had the Horizon Championship. So don't anybody think that Eric just wanted the Horizon Championship, because that's not true. He had no idea that was going to happen. Neither did I. So the two beasties going at it is a lot of fun. I think that I'm having a lot more fun because of Eric and Wolfman and Avalanche Anderson and our world champion, whose name I really sometimes forget how to pronounce, Viento Helado, I think it is, with Rapture. Josh is having a lot of fun with Rapture and Viento Helado. Rain is a good place to throw your characters in and get them, like you said, a chance to be tested out. So that's a lot of fun. I'm totally excited for Total Annihilation. I'm so happy that Josh chose that after the kind of the name that we gave the match. Eric and I gave the match title, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm stoked for it. I think Rain is awesome, and it's one of the best kind of inventions for Sheep Project, along with Spitter.
Yeah, I wish I could get into Spitter. I just were so bad at it.
So am I. Like I'm like, my characters are a lot different than I am, so it's hard for me to do what my characters would do in real time. Like,
yeah, I agree. I cannot.
So
I can tap into my characters fairly well when I'm writing stuff out in like long form, but not on Spitter.
No. Kudos to those who can, like Chick, Black Sheep Baez. I know NC-17 can do it when he wants to. Everybody that is a Spitter homer, Eric is a champion of this with his recordings from the speaker and stuff like that too. So absolutely. All right, so that is the shooting off revival with myself and Charlie. Trey could not be here tonight. Trey, we miss you. You're here in spirit. We'll get you on the next one for sure. And yeah, any last words, Charlie?
Watch the shows.
Watch the shows.
Provide feedback. Like that is what I would say. Is I think I've noticed recently we haven't had a lot of feedback on either role plays or the shows, and so just keep providing feedback for folks, because I think that really helps people get motivated and lets them know what they can improve on.
I will second that emotion, and with that, we are going to sign off. So have a great night and great day whenever you're reading this, so on and so forth. Tools, everybody.
Have a pleasant tomorrow.
Have a pleasant tomorrow.